Hello and welcome to Kelly's Wordy Reactions. So I wanted to get back into the this Trump's Project 2025 shapes Republicans funding bill that I completed the first and second slide on Friday. So I wanted to get back into it and get one or more slides read. Just kind of see how it goes. All right, and this is coming from a website in which all I have is this particular page because when I looked it up, this was what actually came up from my search. So what I may do is go to the website itself. This is just like one particular link. But this is from Democrats appropriations house.gov. So yeah, that's where this is coming from. And like I said, right now all I have is these slides. So, but if you were with me for the first couple, you would already be able to see that a lot of these things are in motion. So let's go to the third slide. If you're coming in, thank you for joining me. I am on the actual page, so I'm not seeing you come in, but I do appreciate you coming in and stopping by and listening and doing everything that you can to stay informed. So yeah. So let's see what else is going on. First, okay. All right. So I'm going to read from the left side of the column. Let me go back. Yeah. So I read from the left side of the column first and then the right. On the left, there's Trump's Project 2025. And then on the right side, there's how this correlates with the Republican 2025 funding bill. And at the very top of these slides, what this is letting us know is this is not just some list of far right ideas and extreme policies. Trump's 2025 is already here, shaping legislation being considered by this Congress. And then right below it in this black box, it reads, hurts the middle class and weakens the economy, which is why I named this letting the system fail. And you'll see more why I'm saying this as we read on. So Trump's Project 2025 proposes cutting taxes for the wealthy and eliminating programs targeting tax cheats. It would hurt the middle class, harm hardworking people, and weaken the economy. All right. Okay, so the third slide. And if you didn't get a chance to see the first two slides, just go back to my videos. And like I said, I did those first two videos on this past Friday. All right, so transportation, housing, and urban development and related agencies. So on the left, on the Trump side, we have reverse the 1968 bipartisan civil rights law, Fair Housing Act of 1968, which prohibits the use of taxpayer dollars from being used to discriminate against individuals and families seeking shelter, rental, and homeownership housing. So this is reversing that, though. And then increase the upfront and annual cost of buying a home through the Federal Housing Administration, FHA. So they want to increase the upfront and annual cost of buying a home through the FHA. This new policy would make it much harder for mortgage-worthy families to purchase a home, access equity, and accrue wealth as they divert mortgages from public oversight to private banks with private interest. Page 510. Okay. And then to the right of that, as far as the Republicans, how is it worded? Republicans 2025 funding bill. It says this cuts fair housing enforcement and protections for vulnerable populations from discrimination by 2%, providing $85 million for fair housing. I guess that would be dollars. Providing $85 million for fair housing and equal opportunity. Cuts fair housing. Oh, okay, I get it. So cuts fair housing enforcement and protections for vulnerable populations from discrimination by 2%. So those things that did provide that $85 million in fair housing and equal opportunity, they want to cut that. Okay, then prohibits HUD from using funds to implement, administer, or enforce the affirmatively furthering fair housing rule to fulfill the requirements of the Fair Housing Act of 1968. This language would hamstring HUD's ability to help its grantees comply with the long-standing civil rights law that protects housing rights of protected classes, which include race, color, national origin, religion, sex, including gender identity and sexual orientation, familial status, and disability. So basically, so if they're going to prohibit HUD from using funds to implement and administer or enforce the affirmatively furthering fair housing, yeah. So I guess if they cut that off, then that would prohibit HUD from being able to grant that money. Or I guess if you fit into those categories, they pretty much say, well, we can't give you the money because we can't recognize any of these categories. That's so weird. So weird. It's like, I mean, you're going to fit into some category. So if you do, then we can't give you the money. This is so strange. It's hard to even try to think about, but we're going to think about it so we can know what's going on. Okay, so the next one on the Trump side is walk away from the 1964 labor protection laws for transit workers, Urban Mass Transportation Act, and eliminate federal support for local transportation systems nationwide. This policy would keep our essential workers, including those in the service industry and teachers, as well as students and the elderly relying on paratransit and other local transportation services, in poverty and closed off from the larger economy and essential services needed to thrive and live independently. Page 634. And I had said before, I believe that actual Project 2025 document is 920 pages long. So this is giving us pages, and I believe that they're giving us these page numbers because this is where this verbiage is coming from. Okay, and then on the Republicans funding bill side of this, this would guts transit capital investment grants by 66% and cuts Amtrak operations by more than 12%, resulting in service cuts, delays to station improvements that support accessibility for people with disabilities, and loss of thousands of jobs. What a diabolical scheme. What a diabolical scheme. Moving on down a little bit on this same page. Under the category of commerce, justice, science, and related agencies, we've got cut taxes for billionaires and corporations, page 696. And on the funding bill side, cuts funding for DOJ's tax division by more than $10 million, which will harm the government's ability to enforce the nation's tax laws and ensure that the wealthy pay their fair share. So this is going to cut funding for Department of Justice's tax division by more than $10 million, which will harm the government's ability to fully enforce the nation's tax laws and ensure that the wealthy pay their fair share. So they're trying to make sure that the wealthy don't have to pay their fair share. And yeah, okay. I'll just go to the next one. I think we get it. All right. So the next point is abolish the U.S. Economic Development Administration, EDA, page 683. And then on the funding bill side, cuts funding for EDA program grants by $143.5 million. EDA grants help create jobs and economic opportunity, improve public infrastructure, and ultimately help revitalize communities facing decline and disinvestment throughout the nation, particularly in rural areas. So, okay. So their goal is to cut the funding for the EDA program and take back that grant money of $143.5 million. And some of the things that the EDA does is create jobs and economic opportunity, improve public infrastructure, and ultimately help revitalize communities facing decline, particularly in rural areas. So the goal is to get rid of that. All right, page 4. This is financial services and general government. All right. Under financial services and general government on the Trump side, it says repeal Title I, Title II, and what's that? It's 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 8? So Title 8 of the Dodd-Frank Act, page 705. Okay, repeal Dodd-Frank Section 1071, which aims to promote fair and transparent lending practices. Okay, so they want to take back anything that promoted fair and transparent lending practices. Is that... this dog, if y'all hear some loud breathing, I'm sorry, my dog is kind of snoring or something. Okay, so is that V? It's bothering me. V123, is that 8? Because X is 10, so this has to be 8. Okay. Then on the Republican funding bill side of this, prohibits funds for Section 1071 of the Dodd-Frank Act, which requires the collection of data on lending to women and minority-owned businesses. Okay, so on the one hand, you got the goal to repeal these things, and then on the funding bill side, um, the Republicans are their goal is to prohibit those funds from going out. So, and this particular one is with regard to lending to women and minority-owned businesses. Okay, so then we have the next section, reverse Congress's investments in the IRS that ensures billionaires and corporations pay their fair share, page 699. And then on the funding bill side, so this cuts IRS by $2.2 billion, decimating efforts to ensure wealthy individuals and corporations pay their taxes. So you cut the $2.2 billion, which is in, jobs and other things, and then there will be nobody there to make sure that those individuals pay their wealthy individuals and corporations. Okay, so then the next section is repeal the Corporate Transparency Act and command the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, to withdraw its beneficial ownership reporting rule, which prevents criminals and terrorists from misusing companies to disguise their illicit activities and commit money laundering, page 707. So they want to repeal this Corporate Transparency Act and command the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network to withdraw its beneficial ownership reporting rule, which prevents criminals and terrorists from misusing companies to disguise their illicit activities and commit money laundering. So then on the funding bill side, it prohibits funding for FinCEN to implement or enforce the beneficial ownership reporting rules. Okay, so you're repealing it and then taking the funding away. So there's no funding, nobody there to do the jobs. And then that way, nothing can be implemented or enforced. Okay, next section, prohibit the SEC from requiring issuer disclosure of social, ideological, political, or human capital information that is not material to investors, financial, economic, or pecuniary risks or returns, page 832. Prohibit the SEC from requiring issuer disclosure. Okay. And then on the funding bill side, so prohibits the Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay, that's the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, from using funds to finalize or enforce the proposed climate disclosure rule titled the Enhancement and Standardization of Climate-Related Disclosures for Investors. Next section. Terminate the Consolidated Audit Trail, CAT program. And on the other side of that, for funding, it prohibits Securities and Exchange Commission from implementing the Consolidated Audit Trail. All right. Next section, military construction, Veterans Affairs, and related agencies. And then on the Trump side, 2025, it says push for further privatization of VA medical care, page 664. And on the funding bill side for the Republicans, makes wait time and drive time access standards only applicable to primary care, specialty care, and non-institutional extended care services. Let me read that again. Makes wait time and drive time access standards only applicable to primary care, specialty care, and non-institutional extended care services. Okay. I think I get what they're trying to do there, but I'm not positive. But basically, it sounds like just making everything very, very difficult, either taking things away, withholding the funds, removing it altogether, or making it very difficult to do, or basically impossible to do if you take things away and take away the funding and things like that. So, but ultimately, it sounds like the ultimate goal of this, as far as VA medical care, is get it privatized, which is really seems like it's, I don't know, just crazy. Okay, next section, agriculture, rural development, Food and Drug Administration, and related agencies. All right, on the Trump 2025 side, reduce funds for ancillary and support operations at the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC. Okay, reduce funds. Page 834. And then on the funding side, cuts the CFTC by $20 million, which is Commodity Futures Trading Commission. So cuts them by $20 million, which would harm CFTC's ability to defend itself against cyber attacks that would devastate the global economy. The more I read this, the more I wonder, like, who does this? That's all I can really come up with, is like, this is this seems just so horribly, I don't know, I hate to be simple and just say evil, but I mean, who works out a diabolical plan like this to just destroy everything? Wow. Okay. On to page 5, aims to make something. Okay. Aims to make the pro-life choice illegal nationally. We'll put it like that. Okay. Trump's Project 2025 aims to restrict or ban access to choice Fertility services and contraception nationally. It erodes personal fundamental freedoms. Contraception? So you can't get fertility services if you want children, and you can't get contraception if you don't want children. And then if there is whatever your reason is, if this is not the choice that you want to make right now, that's gone. But fertilities, I mean, what is fertility services and contraception? I mean, what is that doing? But yeah, so erodes personal fundamental freedoms. So I guess that's the point. Um okay. So under Trump's Project 2025 side, and so we're going into labor, health, human services, education, and related agencies. All right, prohibit funding for Planned Parenthood health clinics, page 471. And then on the Republican 2025 funding bill side, prohibits funding for Planned Parenthood health clinics. So that's pretty much the same. Reimpose, next section, reimpose the Trump's administration's ban on Title 10 family planning grantees providing information on, I don't know, pro-choice. And that's page 455. And then on the funding bill side, prohibits Title 10 family planning grantees from providing information on choice, which conflicts with federal requirements to offer complete, medically accurate, comprehensive options counseling. Next section, reimpose the Trump administration's ban on Title 10 family planning grantees referring for choice services. So reimpose the Trump's administration ban. Okay. So just reimpose that ban. And then on the flip side of that, the funding bill side, prohibits Title 10 family planning grantees from referring patients for choice services if the patient requests a referral, and prohibits family planning health clinics from providing counseling on choice options in states that have banned it. Okay, next section, prohibit funding for women to travel to another state to access those choice services, page 471. And then on the other side of that, prohibits funding to assist women located in states that have banned choice services from accessing those services in another state. Okay, next section, cut Medicaid funding to states that require health insurance plans to offer coverage of choice services. Cut Medicaid funding to states that require health insurance plan to offer. Oh, so they want to cut. So if the state requires insurance plans to offer coverage for those choice services, they want to cut the Medicaid funding to the whole state. Wow. Okay, and then on the funding bill side, amends the Public Health Service Act to allow an individual to sue in court, including for monetary damages, for a suspected violation of the Weldon Amendment, which allows healthcare providers and health insurers to refuse to provide or provide coverage of choice services. And then final section in this area, prohibit funding to medical schools that offer choice-related training on an opt-out basis as opposed to an opt-in basis. Page 786. On the funding bill side, prohibits funding to a hospital or postgraduate physician training program if the hospital or training program has an opt-out requirement for training related to choice services, as opposed to an opt-in requirement, which would result in fewer OBGYNs receiving training to handle reproductive health care issues, including pregnancy-related emergencies and miscarriages. Ooh. Water. This is a special kind of evil right here. A special kind. This really does not make any sense. Okay. I'm sorry, there's two more sections in this area. Prohibit biomedical research using fetal tissue, page 460. And on the funding side, prohibits funding to support life-saving biomedical research using fetal tissue if such tissue is obtained pursuant to an choice service. Next section, reimpose the Trump administration's ban on funding to Title X family planning grantees whose organizations provide those choice services. Reframe and Title X family planning program around fertility awareness, such as the Rhythm Method, page 484. Okay, this really sounds like reimpose. Okay. So I don't know. I don't get it. Like, just everybody just be just completely ignorant of anything that's going on. That's what it sounds like. Like they don't want people, they don't want to teach people how to have fertility awareness. Just I don't get this. And then on the funding side, eliminates funding for Title X family planning services, including preventive healthcare services such as birth control and cancer screenings for $2.6 million. For 2.6 million, for 2.6 million low-income women and men. Oh, let's read that again. Eliminates funding for Title X family planning services, including preventative healthcare services such as birth control and cancer screenings for 2.6 million low-income women and men. So no birth control and no cancer screenings. Wow. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I can't take much more of this bad news for. This is a lot. I'm going to finish this one slide though. Agriculture and Rural Development, Food, Drug, and Administration, and related agencies. Okay. Reverse approval of I don't know what this word is. Mifepristone. Reverse approval of mifepristone and choice medication altogether. Okay, so I guess I don't know what mifepristone is. Let's just check real quick. Mifepristone. What is that? Oral tablet that can, okay, this must be like the morning after pill. something similar to a morning. This says can end pregnancy up to 10 weeks or treat high blood sugar in Cushing's syndrome. That's interesting. Okay, so back to the slide. Okay. So they don't want to approve mifepristone or any choice medication. So reverse approval for that altogether is what they're saying there. Investigate uh, choice medication manufacturers and stop approving new choice medications, page 458. And then on the funding bill side, restricts mifepristone's availability to make it more difficult for women to obtain reproductive health care, including in the 2024 House Republican bill and proposed in an amendment to the 2025 bill. All right, next section, commerce, justice, science, and related agencies. Okay, so first section, penalize. Wow, low income people seeking choice services, forcing those already struggling to make ends meet to pay the biggest portion of her income for safe legal care. Page 474. And on the funding side, prohibits the Department of Justice from using funds to pay for choice services except in cases of R word, I word, or danger to the life of the mother. So that's funny because my from what I've heard reported, they're not even interested when the life of the mother is in danger. They're not interested in helping with that at all. Okay, so then next section, delete the terms. Delete the terms, A word, reproductive health, reproductive rights out of every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. Page 4 and 5. And on the funding side, prohibits funds for DOJ's Reproductive Rights Task Force that monitors and evaluates all state and local legislation, regulations, and enforcement actions that, one, threaten to infringe on federal legal protections related to reproductive care, two, ban mifepristone, three, impair information about reproductive care in other states, or four, impair reproductive care in states where it is legal. So, let's see. So, you know what? Just breaking in right here. I guess I'm beginning to see how it is that you do have a number of the supporters of him that are still in support, even as it looks like he is moving toward more of a dictator, fascist type system. And that would be because they are like, I would think most people would be horrified by all of this infringement upon rights, upon personal freedoms. But it seems to me whoever wrote this and whoever condones this, whoever is for this, is completely for taking away all of these personal freedoms from people. So this gave me a different type of insight because I had not really realized that so many people would be backing um, just taking away people's help, freedom, ability to um, move in life onward and upward. I mean, um, what did I read a while back about getting rid of the like transportation so that it will be more difficult for people to move around and take care of themselves and take care of family? Like, what type of society, what type of society does this even look like anymore, when and if all these things were to be actualized? Like, um who wants to live like this? But obviously somebody does. um Either somebody wants to live like this, or somebody wants to get rid of a whole bunch of people that don't want to live like this. So, and I think it might be a little bit of both, or a lot of both. I think some people feel like, oh yeah, this will be the greatest world if we can just make everybody do what we want them to do and just live lowly and do what, just do what we tell you to do. And we're going to make sure you do what we tell you to do, because you're not going to have many options to do anything else by the time we get finished stripping everything away. Um, and then, if you don't like it, then you can just go wherever. That's I mean, this is horrible. What's like even more horrible is that it's just so many of these things seem to be marching right along, even in just a short period of time. So much of this has already been able to, go forth. So yeah. It's pretty bad. I had skimmed a few of these pages, but I had not read everything. So it's a Debbie Downer for sure. But like I felt like I've heard so much about this, and this is still not reading the whole 930 pages. This is just reading about what it's about. But this is better than not knowing what is actually going on. So, and for those of you that did know that this was going on, then I'm glad that you knew. But you know, just to look at some of these things, this is something else. This is something else. Okay, where did I leave off? Penalize low income people from seeking. Yeah, forcing those who are already struggling to make ends meet to pay the biggest portion of her income for safe legal care. Wow. Um okay, I think I was on this third section. Okay, prohibit the Department of Justice from pursuing lawsuits against states that are eliminating women's rights and access to choice. Let's see. And then on the funding bill side, prohibits the use of funds to sue any state or local government over laws restricting choice or a word, or to intervene or file an amicus brief in such a case. All right, and then next section, make it harder to report S make it hard harassment. Make it harder to report S harassment and SA. Ignore victims, protect perpetrators. Now come on, y'all. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Who does this? Oh my goodness. Make it harder. Oh my gosh. On the funding side, prohibits funds to finalize, implement, or enforce the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's proposed guidance on harassment in the workplace or any similar guidance. So this is, I guess, specifically geared toward the workplace. I mean, that doesn't make it any better, but my goodness. All right. And last section within this section, demand the EEOC or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission ignore claims of employers' failure to accommodate employees seeking A care or choice care, page 587. And then on the funding bill side, prohibits the implementation of the EEOC's April 2024 rule under the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act so as to include elective A word as a related medical condition of pregnancy requiring reasonable accommodation. So prohibits the implementation of the EEOC. So they had a Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and they want to prohibit the availability that affords to women, I guess you could say. All right, so a lot of the rest of these sections here, let's see, where's my page? I'm on page 7. No. Is that 8? This is 7. Okay. So I'm going to stop here on 7. Yeah, I'm going to stop there on 7. And I will pick back up with this on the next time. And let's see. There are 13 pages. Let me just roll through these. Page 8, erodes checks and balances. So we got financial services and general government, state foreign operations related programs, homeland security. Down here in page 10, ends all efforts to confront the climate crisis. So they don't want to deal with the climate change crisis at all. Energy and water development and related agencies. Wow. Eliminate Office of Clean Energy demonstrations. Eliminate energy efficiency standards for appliances. Eliminate carbon capture utilization and storage programs. Eliminate the Clean Energy Corps. Wow. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh, I did not mean to do that. This first section on page 12 says, deny the facts and science displayed in the U.S. Global Change Research Program assessment. So just go ahead and deny that. Oh my God, this is horrible. I know I'm laughing, but it's not because it's funny. This is horrible. Deny the facts and science displayed in the U.S. Global Exchange Research Program assessment. And then just go ahead and prevent the government from responding to the climate crisis. What climate crisis? There's no climate crisis. Uh, mm, mm, mm. End federal mandates and subsidies of electric vehicles. Reverse support for efforts promoting environmental, social, and governance and principles for responsible investment, both of which have badly damaged U.S. energy security. Okay, that's about all of this I can take for today. But I'll when I pick back up reading, I'll pick back up on page 7 to go ahead and completely comb through this. I think it's important. So I'll need to start with defense. But I really think it's important to know about these things so that when you see them, or at least one reason is so that when you see them, you'll know what you're looking at. And there's just a lot of like lying and gaslighting going on right now. But yeah, if you know, and at least that way nobody will be able to just tell you something totally different than what you know that you see. I mean, they can say it all they want, but at least you'll know, like, no, I know exactly where this is coming from. This is part of the plan. So there's parts of this plan that they didn't write down as well. And I got that from a hidden camera interview where these two men from, I don't know, they were English or British or something of that nature. They did a hidden camera interview, and there's parts of this that have not been written down. It's just, I guess, been trained to go into effect at the right time. So we don't even, as bad as this is, with just this little part that I've been reading, we don't even have all of the details because I'm assuming because some of it is too horrific to actually write. So yeah. But anyway, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here for now. I want to thank you so much for joining me. And I will be back very soon. Well, not tonight with this part. I'm going to look over the other article that I started to read, and I may get back in here with some more of that article tonight. But this one we'll just add on. So today it was page 3 through 7, and I'll either finish it next time or just kind of add on to it until we get finished with this one. And then that way it'll be on the record. I can go back and reference it. Anybody can go back and reference it. So, okay. Once again, thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.